I just want to touch on real quick, like what are some of the like more so weird or whack parts of eco anxiety, things that we looked at from The Guardian. So they had an article on eco anxiety, and one of the topics that they touched on was jet anxiety. And it was essentially talking about how Swedes had decreased the amount of time that they spent traveling due to a collective guilt that is, I guess, permeating through their society, where they feel bad for spending energy traveling via fuels, because of course, aviation, transportation, that's one of the or it's a potentially very large source of greenhouse gases, because you're burning fuels in the atmospheres, all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of like, should people feel bad about being able to travel and see the world? I mean, something I just thought of right now. Well, we all know the great story of Steve Jobs and how he traveled to some temples in Southeast Asia when he was first, some Buddhist temples, I should say, when he was first on his journey to start Apple, right? He essentially kind of took a pause kind of from life. He just wanted to explore things, his motivations, that type of stuff, and live by Buddhist practices, daily traditions. And through that, he was able to somehow come to the idea of Apple and developing that company. Or he's attributed that part of his life strongly to his development of Apple. Now, I mean, can we say that airline travel has negative impacts in terms of the fuel that is spent? Okay, sure, yeah, fuel is burned, it generates carbon dioxide and stuff. But when you look at some anecdotal stories such as that, right? Like, this travel that this man took was so instrumental in his life that it is one of the things that he's attributed greatly to the success and the founding principles that Apple was built on, which is now one of the most wealthiest, if not the wealthiest, company and beloved company in the world. So it's like, okay, if Steve Jobs had felt guilty about traveling across the globe on a plane to Southeast Asia or whatever to gain certain perspective and enlightenment on the world, then maybe we wouldn't have had Apple nowadays, which, for some people, maybe that would have been a good thing, for all the Apple, for all the Apple naysayers. But
it would be a very different world, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.